Happy Halloween! Welcome to Texas Memorial Museum After Dark. I'm Pamela Owen, Associate Director.
I'm Laura Noski-Keffer, Admin Associate and Educator.
And Ben Grohl, our Visitor Services Manager, is behind the camera as we explore what is often called the Dino Cemetery right here on the UT campus. Welcome to the last ice age, a time when Columbian mammoths roamed Texas. This part of our graveyard includes the skeletons of mammals from the Pleistocene. They lived 2.5 million to about 10,000 years ago. They include animals that are familiar to us, like the black bear, and unfamiliar animals like the Schuler's pronghorn, an extinct relative of the pronghorn that runs the prairies of Texas today. Check out the horns on that bison. That's not Bevo down there.
Look at this dire wolf skeleton, his long canine teeth, and the scimitar-toothed cat.
Those scimitar-toothed cats use those elongated upper canines. They have ridges on them like steak knives, and their favorite prey are baby mammoths.
Look at this giant glyptodont, a cousin to the modern armadillo.
Wow, look at the teeth and the long snout on that peccary. Its body was found in a cave. It's related to the javelinas of today.
This is a giant ground sloth. Look at that huge rib cage and those really big back legs. This animal had large claws, too.
Let's go deeper into time. A part of our cemetery that looks jumbled because we've got skeletons of animals that lived between 65 and 2.5 million years ago. There are all kinds of shapes and sizes in this part of our cemetery. Wow, look at that gomphothere. It's what we call a shovel tusker. It's got an elongated lower jaw with really long scoop-shaped tusks. They use these jaws and tusks to help leverage pulling down tree branches and gathering the plants that they ate. Check out that skeleton. That is an ancient ancestor of today's horses and zebras. It lived about 3.5 million years ago in parts of West Texas.
We even had giant tortoise here in Texas, and I see its shell right there.
I wonder what happened to the rest of the skeleton.
Who knows?
Wow, check it out. Look at that slingshot-shaped bone on the nose of that protoceratid. That's a fancy name for an ancient hoofed animal that was closely related to our living camels. That's an actual bone growing on the end of its skull and 2 bones off the head. We've got plenty of fish and alligator. That alligator is about 20 million years old. Look at the beautiful skull shapes from these creatures that lived millions and millions of years ago, at a time that parts of Texas were covered in a wet rainforest that changed into grasslands.
I see a camel there as well, and a brontotherium.
That brontotherium is an extinct relative of rhinoceroses. It was living in Texas about 40 million years ago.
I like the shape of its skull. It looks like a saddle.
Oh, you are so right.
So we've made our way over to the Cretaceous part of our cemetery, looking at some dinosaurs, a lot of which came out of West Texas.
Wow, look at that hip bone. And that's from a baby Alamosaurus.
Look at the ceratopsian. Look at the horns on that ceratopsian and the frills as well.
Oh boy, there's everybody's favorite, Tyrannosaurus Rex.
Look at all these hadrosaur skulls.
That Parasaurolophus sure has a long crest. Wow, even footprints are in this cemetery. Three-toed, meat-eating types of dinosaurs made the prints with the three toes. And we've got some really large, more circular prints made by the sauropods. I wonder where their skeletons are. Oh, we're taking a dive. We're now into the marine realm. All these creatures in this part of the Cretaceous cemetery live in the ocean that covered much of Texas about 100 million years ago.
Look at this mosasaur. Sharp, pointy teeth, ready to eat things like the ammonites that are right next to it.
That long, almost snake-like body was able to move through the water so rapidly to capture anything it wanted to eat. It was the top predator of the oceans at that time. I wonder how it died. Lots of sea creatures. Oh, we've got the long neck telling us we've got a plesiosaur. A certain type of plesiosaur that we often call elasmosaur. But it's only the front half of the body. I wonder where the rest of its skeleton is.
We even have a fossilized fish here.
The skeletons in this part of the cemetery are even older. Look at that giant amphibian, 220 million years old. Could you imagine the Barton Springs salamander that large and that ferocious looking?
Check out these phytosaur skulls. Phytosaurs are relatives to modern crocodiles.
Yeah, you can see the similarities. Oh, look at that. We've got the spiny armored reptile called an adasaur. Look at the beautiful patterns of the bones.
dinosaurs back there. An omnivore from the Permian.
Look at those really long spines coming off its backbone. They supported a sail-like structure. And there's its cousin, Dimetrodon. Check out its skull. It's easy to tell the difference between the two. Dimetrodon was the largest carnivore in Texas during the Permian about 260 million years ago. Thank you for joining us at Texas Memorial Museum After Dark. We hope to see you here soon, but with the lights on.
Happy Halloween!